Hi, Shannon. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul.
Right.
So, thank you very much for saying yes to be interviewed today. And I just want to say that my podcast talks a lot about self worth. It's kind of my own therapy. Why I started podcasting. I just there's certain points in my life where I just think that is it just me? So that's why I just started reaching out to people. And I think podcasting has opened up some pathways. I mean, right now I've already been talking to people, and just before the we started recording, yeah, we should maybe swap. If you ever
Yes.
come over to Asia or Malaysia, let me know.
Yes, I would love to.
Yes. So, okay, I will read a bit of your introduction to give our listeners today a sneak peek of who you are.
Okay.
Okay, so hey everyone, we have Shannon Russell here. She's a television producer turned mom, turned entrepreneur, turned career coach, and host of the Second Act Success podcast. So, a fellow podcaster as well. Shannon spent over 16 years as a television producer in New York City and Los Angeles. She then decided to start producing shows for others and then start producing her own life. Wow, okay, that's a big move there. So Shannon pivoted to open her own business, running a successful Snapology franchise teaching children STEM education. Okay. After being asked by so many people how she made such a drastic career change, Shannon launched a second business with Second Act Success, where she coaches women to produce their best life by changing careers, starting a business, and following their creative passion to the fullest. Oh, wow. Shannon hopes to motivate more women to make big moves in life and follow their dreams through her businesses and podcasts. After all, we have one life to live, so why not have many careers and adventures along the way? Yay! Something, one of my definitely top three of my taglines in life as well. Like, I'm a
Good.
person that I don't know, some people look at me as like, aren't you scared? Like today, I just found out from my boss that they are relieving me of my role. So it's like
Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw it coming because it wasn't really what I wanted to do, but I just stuck to it because of the bills, the commitments, and right now I am about to do something crazy out of corporate after 15 years. So I might get your advice about how
Yeah,
to start. Okay, I do want to start coaching as well because I'm trying to get certified. So yes,
good. Well,
yes,
we can definitely talk. I know you're in probably such a hard place, but sometimes it's a sign, right? For you, like this is a sign for you, or at least that's how I like to view it.
yes. So my boss was like, sorry, I'm I'm about to ask some more questions, but it's okay because I was telling my boss, she was kind of worried, like, are you okay? This is my second sabbatical. So the first sabbatical, I was on operating on fear base. So it's like, I don't know how am I gonna sustain. I only have so much savings, but this time around, I think there is a higher power. Of course, there is, and there's a higher purpose for me. So we'll see.
Yes. Oh.
So okay, Shannon. Before we go straight into business, can you share with us what was it like growing up as Shannon Russell?
That's a fun question. For me, I loved my childhood. I mean, I knew I always say since I could speak that I wanted to work in Hollywood. So I was very much like a TV girl. I always say I learned everything from television, and I just wanted to work in TV. And my family, everyone was born and raised in the same town. No one ever left. I was the first to go to college, and then I moved to the complete other coast. So I'm kind of like that black sheep of like, I do all the crazy things and my family just looks at me and shakes their head.
Yeah.
But it's like all those goals that you work towards and I was able to achieve it. So yeah, as a little girl, I just always had really big dreams and and worked and did everything I could to achieve them.
Beautiful. So I was reading your profile. You said there was a trip that you made to California, and then right away you knew you belong in LA. Tell us about that.
Yeah, because I wanted to work in TV like my entire life. For my senior year of high school, like for my graduation gift, my parents finally took me to Hollywood. And it was like a family trip, and I got to see everything. And I was like, yep, this is where I want to be. So I ended up going to college for communications and film, and then got all of the internships and started in TV right out of college. And I worked in New York City first. And then a few years later, I moved to Los Angeles finally.
And that's for work as well in
Yeah,
LA.
for work.
Right.
Yeah.
So you studied in New York and then you
I
moved to LA.
Well, I went to college in North Carolina. So I was
Ah,
just yeah, I went to college in North Carolina, which is in the South, and then I ended up in New York City for my first 3 years. I worked at MTV, right there in Times Square.
MTV. Wow, I grew up watching that.
Me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. I get okay. Wait, see, I get to talk to somebody who used to work at MTV, and now she has her own. And no, and then and then you. So you were the producer then in
Yep, I
MTV.
started as a production assistant and then I moved up the ranks there. So I was there for about 3, a little bit longer years, maybe 4 years. And then I moved to Los Angeles just to try to work at different companies and because that was like my ultimate dream. But I continued to work at MTV for really my entire career because years later when I moved back to New York City, I worked there again. So really that was like my where I started and where I kind of always had my connections, and all of my TV best friends are all people that I started with there right out of college. So it was an incredible experience.
Wow. So I'm curious, right, Shannon? How do you start a network since you're in the media industry? Like, how do you get that started? Like, I don't know. This is just me thinking out loud.
Yeah, how did I get into the network, into
Yeah, and
production?
how do you get into the network production? And now you've been in the industry for a long time. Like, how do you start a network if you want to? Somebody wants to, like, yeah.
Yeah, so when I first started, I did a lot of internships. I interned at CBS, I interned at MTV, and then MTV offered me a job right out of college. And I learned, the background of what it takes to kind of take an idea for television and bring it to the screen. And then as I was working in television for the first few years, the idea of production companies came about, and people were starting their own production companies, and then networks were hiring the production companies to produce different shows. So
Ah,
now I feel like instead of someone starting a full network, they start their production company and then get partnerships through the network and get shows sold to the network. So that seems to be like what a lot of people have done for maybe the past 10 or 15 years. But
mm-hmm.
now with digital and so many shows streaming, there are people who are starting their own networks. One of my very good friends who I began work with at MTV is starting her own online network for women kind of in their 30s and 40s because she found that there wasn't enough programming for that age range.
Millennials.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so
Myself.
she's starting this online network and she's doing fundraising and stuff now, trying to get it off the ground. But it's a great idea. So I think we're back to a place where the production companies are now becoming these digital networks that you can start, which is really it's.
Wow, wow, you just that clicks something. I would like to interview your friend. Oh,
I
did
will.
she? Yeah, I can.
Yes, of course.
Is there something possible? Could you
Oh,
like connect us?
absolutely. She would love it. I mean, she's really incredible and like we have the same kind of upbringing in television and she's looking at, well, I want to create this kind of online women's network that has, not just fashion and shopping, but it includes like lifestyle clothes, but it's also entertainment and it's health and it's yeah, so I'll introduce you. She's great.
Yay! Perfect. Thank you, Shannon.
Of course.
Okay. Right. So, why should a person change jobs and start a second act?
Well, I always say there's a couple of reasons. It's either that you are really unhappy and you feel completely stuck with what you're doing and unfulfilled, and that you just are dreading the day. or it's because you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish in that role and there's nowhere else to move. So for me, I loved my job. There was nothing I hated. It was just long hours and stressful, and I began my family. And so for me, it was tricky. And that's why I transitioned to a second act. But I work with clients who are in both scenarios. Either they love what they do, but they feel like they've hit the ceiling and there's really nowhere for them to move. And like me, I feel like I checked the box and I was like, okay, well, now what's next? What else can I do with this one life that we're given? Let me start something else and see what I can do using my experience from my first act. So really, whether you're looking for that new adventure or you're just feeling unfulfilled, something that can fit into your life and is maybe offers you more flexibility or more creativity. I think either of those reasons, if you're in those buckets, then you should look to see what else you can do using your skills and experience that will fit into your life and give you that joy. Because if we're working all these hours every day, you want to have some joy and you want to feel like you're contributing to your family and to the world and to yourself as well.
I totally resonate with that. Um, you know, I'm our story is quite similar in a way that I don't really like to be stagnant in one place. I like to dip my toes in almost everything as long as I think it's capable. I'm capable of doing them. But I get this notion around me, around friends around me that says, aren't you scared? Like, so there are people that are like that. Well, how sh- how should we? I don't know. I guess the question is, what can we do to support them? But we know they want to make the move, but they just something's just holding them back. It's either the work itself or the pay, because the pay is good, but and they're highly skilled at it, but they just don't want to leave because again, fear, insecurity. What do you think?
I always say, and I feel like we might be in the minority, like people who are career
Yes.
changers, like a lot of people will stay and be stuck and complain and I just want to shake them and say that you can at least try and you can always go back because you
Yeah. Oh,
can
that's a good
always go
one.
back. And I think there's some comfort for people in knowing that you're not changing and losing all of that skills and credibility. You're just taking it and you're adding on to your lifelong resume, if you will. So, what I often tell people is learn before you leap. So, if you're thinking you're unhappy, if you know that you want to explore a change, then while you're making that paycheck, you can do, little things to research these other options that are kind of swirling around in your head that you've been like pushing off because you think they're unrealistic. You can do the research and find out because sometimes we have this dream of what it would be like to open our own business or switch fields and become an accountant when we're a teacher or vice versa. But by researching what that role actually entails, you might even decide that, oh, that's not for me. And you can check it off and move on. And you won't always have that curiosity. So by learning about the roles or the things you're thinking about, you can be educated and then you'll feel more confident that yes, this is what I want to do. And then you can slowly start taking those steps to get there. But while you're working and you're earning a paycheck, that's a great time to explore and learn more, whether it's through books or podcasts or talking to other people that are in those fields that you're interested in. And then you're just educating yourself, and then that confidence comes, and then you can start thinking about moving. But all the while, you're earning your paycheck.
That's a good two-step that they can take while they're at their job and still go out there and start talking or start researching or watching. I don't know, YouTube. There are plenty of resources online. And yeah, I think I also believe that they know they need to make a move, and this universe is always there. It's always, if you don't see the sign right now, I'm gonna push you and you're gonna have to, dive right in.
Yes,
hit
exactly.
hit face first and then just brush it off.
Right.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you
Sometimes
for
we need
that.
that push too, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need
yeah,
that little push.
exactly. Like same thing as me. Like I told myself,
Yeah,
I wanted to stay maybe another 2 3 years so that I can slowly transition. And I'm like, and now it's like, no, the time is right now, Nicolette. There's no running away. So you better
right?
finish what you started, and then get yourself certified, and then go.
Yep.
So there's so many things that I want to ask you. It's like the guests that after receiving that news, the guests that I've been talking to, they're like this golden nuggets, you know. Like I wanted to start up, let's say, my own coaching thing, right? And now you started your own coaching. Can you share with me, like, how did you start yours? What
Sure.
are the tips or the checklist that one should have?
Yes. So I started mine simply because I had started my other STEM education business for kids, and my customers would say, "Oh, you must have been a great teacher. What grade did you teach?" And it would start that conversation where I would say, "No, I was a television producer. I wasn't a teacher."
Completely different.
Completely different, and people would say, "Well, wow, if you could do that, can you help me figure out how I can switch?" So I
Ah,
literally had customers
nice.
asking me and then friends asking me because my transition was so big and
Drastic. Radical.
drastic. Yeah, and then I started thinking like, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe there are other, young moms like me that feel that they need that help switching over. And so I decided to start the business. I started it with a podcast. And then my podcast first, I started interviewing people who had made these transitions. And then from there, I said, okay, well, I'm going to start coaching. And I got certified. I'm a UMAP coach, which is a assessment that I love. That is really, it takes all of your skills and assessments that you've done in the past, and it takes them and puts them in kind of a profile for you so you can know what you want to move forward to and what you absolutely don't. So I got certified in that. I did a couple of other little certifications and I just started putting it out there and working with
Wow.
friends and getting these testimonials, learning about what it was like for them, if I was able to help them. And then I created a program and, a membership and different things to meet people where they were and kind of help them, whether they were in the very beginning stages or where they were like, I know what I want to do, just help me get there.
Right. So it's like, so did you have your, social media set up, and did you had to pitch it out there, or there were just already word of mouth floating around saying, oh, Shannon did this, Shannon did that, and maybe you should go to her? What was it like for you? Yeah.
Well, I started a website just because I'm a little type A and I don't think you need one. Like for me, I started with the podcast. So the podcast had the logo and I started the website just really for the podcast. And then as I decided to really bring my coaching to the forefront, I added a page for the coaching and a about me page and got my social media up, right away and started sharing my podcast episodes and then just started letting people know. And it began organically. And the more people I would have on my podcast, I would guest on their podcast and I would meet more people who were like, you should meet this person. I think they could use your services. And so it became just word of mouth. And then locally in where I live, I would go to community events and let people know, hey, I'm a career coach and I offer all of this. And so I started helping local small business owners grow their business or launch a business or figure out their career change. So yeah, I think social media, having the website, it just gives you a little bit of credibility as you're starting.
Thank you. Right. I think I've got to put that into my notebook and start thinking right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost a lot of money either. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money in creating those things, which is nice.
Right? Yeah, because everything is free unless, okay, fine, you got do some hosting for the website, but
Right.
it's actually really, it's quite minimal.
It is.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Shannon, for that advice.
Your wheels are
Uh,
moving. You're like thinking.
yes, exactly. It's like,
I
yeah,
love that.
this is what I do. Like when I talk to my guests, they say something and it's out of curiosity, my own question. I'm like, oh, what if it's like this? What if it's like this? And I said, okay, how do I adapt it? How do I adapt it to my making my own approach? Take a
Hmm.
bit of this and that and have it. So, okay. So, yeah, why do women and men struggle with changing their careers?
I think it comes back to that, people often think, and I think society teaches us that our career is our identity. And there's that piece where I know I cringe at it myself, but if you think about it, it's so ingrained in us to choose what we want to do at a young age, go to school, come out, get that first job, and then that's where we're supposed to be until we retire. And I
Mm-hmm,
think
mm-hmm.
now our generations are changing things and we're saying, well, there's more than that. And I'm more than what I do to earn a living. And you can love what
Oh,
you
that's cool. I love
do.
that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a part of us. And for me, I started really looking at it when I would go to parties or neighborhood gatherings, and people, the first question would be, what do you do? And I started realizing I don't want that to be the first question someone asks me. And I don't want to ask someone else that question because, especially if you don't like what you do, that instantly brings that, oh,
Yeah, you'll shy away. You're gonna change the subject to something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think we fear that change, both men and women, because we think I have been this for so long. Who am I if I change? And,
Mm.
what will other people think? So it's really that mindset
Mm.
shift, of saying I'm more than this because I could and also I still say sometimes I'll say former television producer, but sometimes I just say I'm a television producer and I'm a business owner and I'm a career coach and I'm a mom, of course, but
Yeah.
because I could go back and produce television tomorrow if I wanted. So it's just part
Exactly.
of,
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, I
yeah.
love that.
So you just bring it
Yes.
all together, and these are all the cool things that I can do and all of my experience. And it's less about I'm stuck in this one box and this is where everyone's going to keep me. And it makes life more fun that way too, I think, to challenge yourself and to have a bunch of different labels instead of one. And if we can just switch that mindset, it's less scary to transition into something new, don't you think?
Yes. Absolutely. Like the different facets to you. Like if I was just again when you were saying things, I was just thinking to myself. Also, I'm an accountant and we call it a consultant and a
Podcast host?
therapist, qualifying therapist, and a coach, upcoming coach, and right now, what do you call that? Podcast host
Yes,
and business owner of my own practice.
right?
Oh, I like the sound of that, you know?
Me
Okay,
too.
Nicolette, you should do that on your web web page.
Yes, exactly.
Ah, thank you, Shannon. You gave me so many ideas. Okay, all right. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages of buying into franchise? Because you open up your own business, and then I think you bought a franchise. So, which one came
Yeah.
first?
So I bought into the franchise as my first business. So that's my STEM education business. And I like talking about this because I think for people who are scared to open a business, a franchise is a great option because they give everything to you. You get all of the marketing materials, the structure of a business is set for you and the support from the corporate office. So for me, I might have produced these big productions, but I'd never been a sole business owner. So buying into the franchise, and then when I bought in, it was a very small new franchise, so it wasn't very much money. And I just had the support and I was able to lean on all the other owners, the other franchisees. And it was a great intro to business. And for me, I was able to use my producing skills and grow my business to be one of the top franchises in my franchise, and that gave me the confidence to open my coaching business because I was like, well, if I could do this, now I can open my own business on my own and build it from scratch. But a franchise
Okay.
allows you to kind of go in and get all of the tools you need that are already done and proven to be successful. So it helps.
And you kind of use the things that was already set up in the franchise and try to replicate it on your business.
Yes, exactly. and I saw kind of what I liked doing in my franchise business and what I didn't like doing. And so I kind of took all of that into my coaching business. And I already knew how to market. I already knew social media. I knew, I just knew all of those pieces. So it made starting a second business that much not easier, but I had the confidence to do it because I had done it once before. So yeah,
Mm.
franchising is an interesting model for business, but it's one to look into. And franchises range different amounts of money that you pay to buy into it. But yeah, there's pros and cons for sure, I think. And yeah, it's been a good experience for me.
And the franchise that you bought into, that you have to love it, right? You have to love the franchise that you bought it. Like, I mean, it's STEM education, so must be something close to your heart,
It
I
is,
should
and it
say.
and it wasn't always, but when I decided to leave TV, I had a 3-year-old and a like newborn. So I was trying to figure out where I would move into for my career and where I could take my TV production experience and go. And my 3-year-old at the time built with Legos all the time. He was building and he was just really getting into it. And I started researching like STEM education, and I had an idea to open my own STEM business because I was thinking, well, I have 2 little boys and I want to be closer to home. TV's hours were way too long. So if I, built a STEM education business, the kids could come with me. It's something that I see firsthand that they love, just the idea of building and thinking like an engineer. And then as I researched, I found the franchise and decided just to buy into that because it was that much easier. And it
Wow.
was, yeah, so it was a great option for me at the time.
I think that's really inspiring, Shannon. I think the way that when you were describing certain things, I was like, I guess you were really in tune to the surroundings around you. And then every time you pick up certain information, certain things I think there's like a parking list in your head. Parking list in your head is like, okay, this one. And then I just observe. You have like, I think innately you're probably an intuitive person. Outside, it helps a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just have that, maybe the knowing that, okay, although I'm not gonna be success is 100% guaranteed, but I've done the 50%, which is my research, and then 50% is faith, I would
Yes.
say.
That's a great way to put it. I've never really thought about that for myself, but I think it's really true. I think I'm pretty self-aware about my surroundings at like those different parts where I have made
Yeah,
a transition.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
then the way that you just maybe pick it up, and then just an idea could start in your head, like, oh, okay, perhaps this is
mhm.
something I can look into. I mean,
Yeah.
look at where you are now. It was so, yeah, you came so far.
Yeah,
I am.
and you know what? I'm just happy and I'm present with my kids, and that was like what I wanted to build something that I could do that
Exactly.
was around them. And yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it's just getting that fear out of your head because there's always fear in anything you do, but everything's kind of worth a try is how I look at
Yeah, that is so true.
it.
Beautiful. Okay, right. All right, we're gonna go back to the question on being a television producer. So what was it like working in the entertainment industry as a producer?
It was everything to me. It's a lot of crazy hours. But it's the
Oh,
idea that you
really?
yeah, oh yeah, especially on shoot days when you're shooting because you might shoot really early in the morning until really late at night. And the crew, the camera guys, all of those people get overtime, but producers don't. So you're just sitting there trying to make the day and trying to get all of your shots and getting everything you need. Because if you think about it, a producer takes an idea for a television show and has to really pull in all of the pieces to make it get all the way to the end where it airs. So you're casting the talent, you're getting writers to write the script, you're hiring the crew, you're working with a budget, you're taking all the pieces, you're like the coordinator of everything. And then you sit after you shoot the show, you're in post editing the show. So you're really taking it all the way till you deliver that to the network. And Yeah, it's as a creative, it's really exciting to see that process go all the way through. And getting to shoot in different locations and just meet amazing people along the way. It's incredible.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel that. So okay, so how do you when do you produce? So it's like, so let's say like a typical show, like what's the uh life cycle like?
Well,
So yeah.
they're different. So I've worked on like studio shows where they're like weekly, say hour-long shows. So you might
Uh,
work on the script and prepping the show all week, and then you record one day, and then you're in edit, and then you start for the next week for the next show. So that's like a
right.
studio show where it's very formatted. But then I've worked on reality shows where you're taking your cast and you're booking locations because you might have a scene that's at a restaurant and you might have a scene that's at an office building. And so you're really dealing with all of the parts. And then you're coordinating a schedule to get everyone to that restaurant because you're going to be shooting a scene or two there. And that's where the days get really long. And those can be, you could be working on one show for 2 weeks. Um, so yeah, and so different shows are different. I've worked on other shows that are like entertainment news shows where it's a script and then you're finding pieces and like video from different shows and you're compiling kind of like a clip show. And you're sitting in a dark edit for 10 hours a day, just piecing it all together. So
Oh
there's
my
different
god.
kinds of
So
shows.
producers have to edit too, or you've got an editor with you, right?
Some producers edit, and then, when I started, you always had an editor. So the producer would sit there, and together the producer and editor would go through the show. But
Uh,
nowadays, they have producers that edit as well. So you're really kind of what we call a predator. So you're a producer and an
got
editor,
it.
and you're doing it all. And some producers shoot the camera as well. I mean, someone
Wow.
yeah, and I've shot a ton of things as well, and it depends on the network. Like at MTV, it was very much like, "Here, grab a camera and go out and shoot some stuff," and very learn as you go. And then bigger productions, will have unions in place where it's like, "Nope, the camera guy shoots, you produce, the director directs." So it just depends on the type of production, and I feel like I've worked on all the different gamuts, from super low
Wow.
budget to, like, high budget, so yeah.
Wow. That must be an enriching experience for you. Like, I would love to try that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start from below, right? What do you call it? How do we? I interviewed a few people in the media industry, and they were saying that they started from assistant, you know.
Production assistant, yeah.
Yeah, assistant, and then work their way up, and I
Me
think
too, yep.
yeah, and then some of them even went ahead and produce made their own movies. Like I am like
Yeah.
amazing. These are women, and I'm like, yeah,
I
you go, girl.
I know, it's really incredible.
Okay. Um. So, what have you learned from your guest stories about changing careers?
Wow, I love, like, just talking with you and knowing, like, all the ideas that you have, and, like, it's just fun to, like, chat with my guests and see, like, where they started and where they came, and I always like to find the thread, I think, that kind of takes you from that first act to your second act and say, "Wow, it makes sense that you moved into this because you did this in your first act." It's really cool to see that and to also see that everyone took a risk and bet on
Mm.
themselves and
Yes.
kind of had that similar story of like, I tried it, something wasn't working, and now I made the move and now I feel like I can exhale a little bit. Like I'm now creating where I want to be. And that's really incredible
Ooh, I
to
just got
see.
the chills.
Me too, actually.
Ooh, oh wow. Okay, that really hit the spot right there.
Yeah, and
I
that's why I
like it.
like to interview people on my podcast about that because I think then listeners can say, "Wow, if she went from working in fashion to being a lactation consultant," that's someone who I interviewed, and I'm like, "Wow, what a juxtaposition! Like so different, but
Yes.
but
What a
it's
paradox.
Yes, but how cool is that? And then you can hear it and say, "Well, I can do it too." And it just makes you think you're not alone in wanting to you're not as crazy as your friends and family might think.
Yes.
You can do it and not
Yes.
cause all this chaos in your life.
Exactly. And I love when you term you're you're betting on yourself. I think that's so powerful. Like when you said it, I'm like, ooh.
Mm.
Today my subordinate came and talked to me. It's like, Nick, what are you gonna do? He's worried for me. He's like, I don't know. I mean, like I have a plan in my head,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It's like, are you really that rich? She's asking me like, are you really that rich that you don't know that you can afford not to have an idea? I'm like, I'm not. I said, I'm not. To be honest, I have, of course, there is that fear, but it's just the knowing that I'm a bet on myself. Exactly like that.
Mhm.
I'm a bet on
Yep, you'll
myself.
make it work. Yep.
Yes. Ah, Shannon. There's so much resonance here.
I know. We could talk all day.
Okay, so what is that one thing that you learn from leaving a successful job and starting from scratch running your own business?
That I wanna keep doing it, because I really am all about checking all the boxes. Like, "Okay, I wanted to do this. I did it. Check. What's next? Okay, I wanna do
You're
this. Let's."
all about the experiences, right?
I
Like
am.
same, same.
Yes.
Okay, can I
And
can
what's
I let you
cool.
on in a secret? Because I
I
haven't.
know.
About yeah, people when this airs and people are gonna hear it, she's good. She's crazy. No,
I know.
because I wanted to go into it was all accounting for me over the last 15 years. So now I'm about to go into psychology,
Are
which
you?
is
That's your next
yes,
step?
yes, therapy, yeah, yeah, hypnotherapy and all those things and coaching as well. And then I've always liked fashion. You just mentioned it. I
Mhm.
told myself like, Nick, maybe after this, after you're done with these therapy, because it's a lifelong career, right? You're
Right.
coaching people. So maybe if you want to again stack some more into your, I don't know, your portfolio,
Mhm.
go study fashion.
You
I just
guys.
started when I was scrolling through Instagram, I saw this Paris. There was this education. Not really famous, but a director. I don't know, creative director from Paris, and they're gonna be the first institution in KL in Kuala Lumpur. Okay, this is interesting. I don't need to go to
Wow.
Paris, but I
Right?
can use it. Yeah, exactly. I can use because I've always wanted it, but then if I were to tell my father back in high school, I want to become a designer, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
with what money? You need to go to at least to Paris to learn all of these things. So, yeah, definitely. Yes, it's something I will somehow.
Yes, there is, and even if it's something like my head is going, I'm like, you can even do like a t-shirt line or an accessory line with whatever your teach.
As a merchandise now,
Yes.
I'm about to, I'm
Oh
about
my
to
gosh. I love
produce
it.
my what do you call that? Sweater or t-shirt and the tagline and I have a mug now. It's in the
See,
works.
you can expand that and like even
I
like
know.
quotes and things that you learn through your therapy and through coaching. Like I can see
Yeah.
it.
You see, there's so many. Okay, this is okay. No, this is about me. It's like I have so many ideas, Shannon, but it's like sometimes I have to take a break and it's like pump the brakes. I'm like, Nicolette, you're only one person. There's only so many hours in one day. So just
Yes.
you know, park it and then yeah, maybe I should start writing it down in a journal and say, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and I can always come back to it. And
Yep.
because I've always thought that 30 is like the finishing line. After I reach 30, I wanted to reach 30 as fast as I can, and I thought I would be settled by then. No, that life starts at 30, so that
Yeah.
was a huge realization for me.
Yes. It's so true.
Now
And
I'm starting ground zero.
And it keeps going though, because I have
Exactly.
yeah, I've had clients, I've 2 clients that just turned 60, And one is starting a business, one just went through a divorce and is figuring out what she wants to do. And I think that's incredible that that we can always keep learning. It's not about a certain age,
Yes.
and it's exciting. Like, why not keep challenging ourselves, and taking these.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Oh,
I'm
yay,
with
high
you. You can
five.
do it all. High five.
Okay, so what is next for you? I
Well,
told you what's next for me.
yeah. Well, we're kind of alike with I throw too many things at myself as well, and I have to but really for me, I'm writing a book. And so
What? I do have plans to write a book,
are you doing it too?
but not now immediately. But it's definitely in the pipeline there.
It
A
should
book,
be.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
and it's about maybe a collection of the story that I've spoken to with my guests.
I love that. That
Yeah.
would be
What
great.
about? Tell me, what about your book? I mean, I haven't really put my I haven't really put much thought into it, but yeah. But what's your book about?
Well, I've been writing mine for a while, and I just joined a course actually last week where it's basically like you join this group, and I will have my book first draft written by June. So I'm like, okay, I need this accountability. But yeah, it's all about second act success. So it's kind of my story briefly and then how you can change careers. So I'm taking everything I teach my clients and through my programs and putting it into the book.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant. I love that for you, Shannon.
Thank you. I've always wanted to write. So it's kind of been like just another dream, something else to check off the list
To
too. And
check,
so,
right? Oh my God! Now, again, after that, at the back, author, best-selling author. Yeah,
right? Oh,
comma.
fingers crossed. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna pivot to a self-worth question
Yeah.
because that's the essence of my podcast, and I like to talk people get their ideas.
Yeah.
So, self-worth can be affected by relationships with others. So, in your opinion, how can individuals establish healthy boundaries and foster relationships that support their self-discovery journey?
I love that question. Because I think it's tricky when we're talking about self-discovery and change, because oftentimes the people closest to us want to protect us and steer us away from that, right?
Danger from
Yeah.
harm, for
Yep.
I don't know, starvation, which I don't think we
Yes.
will ever starve, but yeah,
No. Hopefully
yeah,
not. But so
yeah.
I often advise, like I talk about this on my podcast too, is keeping your dreams sometimes close to the vest before you tell people. Do you agree?
1,000%.
Mm.
But
It's
sometimes you can
same.
contain this, like you just want to share, like my sis. I have a younger sister, but she somehow I don't know if she can comprehend my thinking, and
Mine definitely
yeah,
can. My sister and I are
yeah,
complete opposites. So
yeah,
I
yes, yes,
yeah.
complete opposite. She's the very risk averse one, and I'm the risk taker one. So
Yeah. Well, what I think is that, and I'm sure like through the podcast, you've met so many people that are like minded, like you and I. And so I found that I tell like my other business owner friends or friends that I've made through my podcast, they become my circle that I can talk to and say, like, what do you think about this? Because my best friends, as much as they love me, they don't know what it's like to own a business and make these big changes.
yes,
Yeah.
nobody in my circle has made that leap.
Yes.
Exactly. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, so just keep it to yourself until you're confident. It kind of goes back to the learning and leaping that we talked about earlier, that if you get yourself confident about the direction you're going or the goals that you want to work towards, the more confident you are and the more you have your reasonings of like, I can definitely do this, then you can start telling people and then they will support you. But, I'm not telling all of my friends that I'm writing a book because you know what they'll say is like, oh, one more thing she's adding to her plate. And
yes, and
so
no, we
let
don't
me
need that naysayers. Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah.
And so,
No.
and once it's done, or once like for you, once you have your website all built out with the direction you're going, and then you start telling people, and they're going to support you rather than say, oh, Nick, don't do that. This could be risky for you, and I'm worried about you. And you're going to have the confidence with yourself and know your own self-worth to move forward, and in a way where then they're going to have nothing but support for you because you built this for yourself and you have that confidence. So I think it's important just to not let those naysayers get in your head, because that takes you down, and it's just you don't want anyone to take the wind out of your sails or whatever they say.
Exactly. It's just gonna chip away your
Yeah.
confidence, we don't need at all.
No.
Yeah.
And you
So
can find groups like online now. Like, so if you're starting this, like if someone is starting a transition into something else, like go online and join groups of like-minded people that you can talk to. So there's always someone, that you can chat with. And I think then you know that you have the support even if it's not in your inner circle.
yeah, I think having a community, it's really important, and thank God for technology.
Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
know that we have the same wavelength, so perhaps be I would definitely stay in touch with you.
Yes. No, because it's so great. And then as I meet people, I can say, "Oh, Nick, you should talk to this person," and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I have like one of my this is a funny story, but one of my first friends I met through podcasting lives in England. We have become such good friends. We talk all the time. She's flying to New York City in 2 weeks and we're meeting up. I know.
The
And she
first
thinks
time? Are you
first
meeting
time,
first time?
first
Oh
time
my
in
God,
person. Yes,
beautiful!
so
I'm
we
so
talk like
happy
this
for
all
you
the
to talk.
time, and her friends think she's crazy. She's never been to the United States, and we got tickets to a Broadway show, and we're gonna go out.
Oh
It's
my
just
God!
so
Oh
you
my
can just,
God!
yeah. So then, like, I can come near you, you can come out here, and we can get together. But
Yes, please,
yeah,
please. So yeah, if I do, when, no, not if,
yeah,
when I do come
when
over,
you
when
do,
I visit the States, I
yes.
will.
It will be so fun. So
Oh
yeah,
my
you can
God.
just find community online and through, and then it just spreads, right? Like you can just help connect other people. I'm a huge connector. I love it. It makes me so happy to introduce people and
Same, same.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. We must have some affinity in our past lives or
I know. I
something.
think so.
Okay. What is your heart's greatest wish?
Oh, to have the freedom and flexibility to just travel and do the things that I want to do every day and not worry about money so much, really. Just to be able to be with my family and take in all the moments.
Do you have a mantra that you live by?
It really is, I would say, check all the boxes. I just want to do it all and not have any regrets at the end of the day.
Do you have anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
Oh, it's
What's next? I think
I
that's
know.
probably gonna keep you up. That's
I
keeping
know.
you up at night. What is next?
You know what? I always say, like, at this stage of my life, I'm very much a day by day person. Like, so I can't think there's
I
too many
love
things going on.
that.
And I like,
That is
yeah,
so good. That is such a great tool of thing that we teach in therapy as well. And it takes courage to
yeah,
stay present, to be where you are and not be anxious or anticipating for the future. I mean, you can anticipate the future, can because I believe in creating your reality, but don't get stuck on the outcome.
right.
I think that's the most important thing.
And we can get so like ingrained in our schedule. And like I have my schedule, I'm type A, so I have like what I'm doing for the
I
next month,
think.
but I can only handle one day at a time in my brain. And so like if I don't, then I'm up all night thinking about like, okay, tomorrow at this time I do this and this.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and it takes, oh my God, willpower to stop doing that.
it's
And
hard.
like, yeah, it's so hard. I think people like you and me,
Yeah.
so, so many, when we want to check boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say we have so many because that becomes a to-do list. I don't want
Right.
that.
Mm-mm.
We have a check box. We want to check boxes as they come into mind,
Yeah.
like, and it takes a lot of practice.
Well, because it excites us too, and then you're like, "Okay, well, how much can I work on it today?" And it's like you said, like, you almost have to say, "Okay, on Monday, I'm working on the podcast. On Tuesday, I'm doing this."
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so true, Shannon. Like today, before coming onto this podcast, I'm about to take leave by the end of the month. So I still have my 9 to 5. So after when I came home, I had to do my some practice session for my therapy because I'm graduating, and then I said, okay, I need to take some nap before I come on and talk to you. And but inside my head, I'm like, okay, what will it be like when I'm actually not working 9 to 5? Because I will first take it as it's a holiday, like, oh, I love it. But then the third week, for example, I don't want to be feeling like, okay, I am unemployed.
Right.
I'm unemployed, and okay, then that fear starts creeping in, and that hinders me from my way where I'm going, where I want to go, because I have the confidence, fine, but then again, people, not just okay, people is one, but then you yourself as well. Sometimes you have to catch yourself to okay, is that fear starts creeping in, like how
Yeah.
do you manage that, I guess. Yeah. And to counter that, what I had thought, I said, okay, I have so many. I release on a weekly basis. So I'm like, okay, I am going to first do my clips every for maybe for the whole month, and then do their introduction, fine, and get it all on social media. Schedule them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, read up on your RTT. So I'm trying to like fill the gap so
Right.
that I don't feel like, okay, this is a no in therapy, like calling myself a loser, which I know I'm not.
Of course.
But yeah, somehow it's like you feel like, okay, you don't have a job, and you're doing podcasts and then you're coaching, okay. So it's like challenging that belief
Yeah.
that you
Like
created.
putting that structure into your day. And like you do have a job.
Yes.
Podcast is a business and you're
Yeah,
working,
yes, yeah. Thank you for
so
saying that.
yes, it really
I've always
is. It's so
it
time
had
consuming.
exactly. It's like we're doing everything
Yeah.
from this, the scheduling, the
Yeah.
editing until it goes out, and I'm like, oh,
It's
it takes a lot of time.
it's a
Yeah,
lot. So yeah, you can schedule your days where you've got like chunks of what you're doing and you'll be productive. And I think I'm big on the three to-do list. Like I put three things down each day that I want to accomplish, and as long as I get those done, I'm good. So maybe even if you just do that when you're officially finished with your 9 to 5 and you'll feel productive, and that's a good feeling at the
yeah,
end of the day.
yeah. It's like you've accomplished something.
Yeah. And anything you do over that is just extra, but there's not like all this pressure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I guess just taking it is like I'm just transitioning from a 9 to 5 corporate to same thing. I can have the same structure, but it's for me,
It's for you.
right? If I coin it that way in my head, it's for you. You're working for you, Nicolette.
Yes,
So if you're already working, I don't know, 80% for your job, add the 20% and it's for you.
it's for you.
Okay. Giving therapy to myself.
You've got a plan now.
Okay. Last question, Shannon. If you could create a quote right now to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
It would be produce your best life. Kind of my business tagline of just, yeah, take what you want and make it happen because we get this one life. So make it what you want it to be.
Standing ovation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, it has been a very fun conversation with you. I feel like talking to a sister.
Yes, me too. I really do too. Thank you for
From
that.
the we're thousands of miles apart, but it seems like yeah. So I'm not alone. So I'm not the only one that's
No.
cuckoo. We're not like this, and I love that you're doing you're also a podcast host, right? So, and you're doing your book, and I just have this like some push within myself that okay, you're gonna be okay. You're not crazy. You're not alone.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you are doing wonderful work, Shannon, and
You are too. Thank you.
I wish you all the best. And this is definitely not gonna be our last encounter for
Mm-mm.
sure. I think I followed you on Instagram. I will follow you on all your other social, and
Amazing.
let's stay in touch. I might need. I will reach out about certain things if once I'm ready with everything with certain things. I don't even need to wait until I'm ready. If I just have certain questions in my head and I think like, oh, I go through my podcast guest. I'm like, oh, she's done this. Okay, let me ask her. I'll
Yeah,
definitely reach out.
I love that. Please do. Thank you for having
All
me.
right.
And
Well,
and I'm
you,
going, oh,
yes.
no, go ahead.
No worries. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I'll introduce you to my friend as well.
Oh, yes. I would like to interview her.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Well, okay, Shannon. What time is it in New Jersey?
It is a little after 11 a.m. Is it
Okay.
is it 11
Mine's
for you?
11:04 because I think New York and is it still daylight savings?
Yes.
Okay. So it's 11:04 p.m. here, and that's 11:04 a.m.
Yes, so we're 12 hours
Right?
apart. Oh my
Okay.
God.
So it's 12 hours, and then
Yeah.
Los Angeles it's 16 hours behind. It's 4 hours behind
Right.
New York, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I know, it's really crazy.
The states have four different time zones, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, I know. And
Oh
I
my
used
god.
I know, and I lived in
But
California and my family was in New Jersey, so it was always like, "Wait, what time
wait,
is it?"
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I would love to visit.
Yeah.
Definitely soon. If not this year, next year.
Yeah, for
We'll stay in
sure.
touch.
And wait, what about your when you graduate then, so you'll be opening your own practice?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will be open. So I will be taking clients online. Whoever that 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 resonates with the niche that I'm picking on. I think the first I haven't really fine tuned it, but I think I want to work with men and women who have self confidence issues and also overcoming. I've been divorced as well, so I am like on the other side, and I can. It's easier when you've lived the experiences yourself.
I bet
So
you have.
yeah.
Oh, that'll be so great. See, so you'll oh my gosh, I have to have you on my podcast to talk about your everything that you're doing too.
So much. Of course. Yes. I'm honored.
It would be so fun. And maybe should we do it when you've got your practice set up, or when would that be, in the summer? Are you graduating
Yeah. I
now?
think we could do it after my practice is set up, which is in I fingers crossed if when I graduate. I'm looking in May, so
Oh,
maybe
nice.
sometime in June.
Yeah, so let me know.
Yeah.
Reach out to me when you're ready and we'll do that. That'll be so fun. Because we could just talk all
I know.
day.
Yes, we could. Oh my gosh! So you now have an England friend,
I
and you're
do.
about to have a Malaysian friend. Yay!
Yay.
Beautiful.
How far are you from the Philippines?
4 hours.
Okay, my husband is Filipino and we haven't been out there.
No way! I'm Filipino.
You are? I thought you kind of
I'm Filipino Malaysian. Yeah, my name is Nicolette and Shannon. So
Oh,
I
I
I
thought you kind of
so
looked Filipino, but I wasn't sure if
yes,
it's, oh my
yes,
gosh, how
yes.
funny.
No way. Your husband's Filipino?
Yes, I mean, he was born here, but his parents came over.
Ah,
Yeah.
right. So they're the second generation in the US.
Yes.
I have families back in the US as well. They're in LA, but they're not. I'm not close to them because it's from my dad's side. So, but I
Oh, yeah.
know a bunch of them. I think if
That-
my surname is it's there.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Oh my
husband's, well,
gosh.
my family, I didn't change my last name, but my kids and my husband are Hollandoni with a J.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
because Spanish conquered the Philippines, so
Yep.
very much Spanish. Oh
Yeah.
my God!
So, but
Again, we can talk.
We haven't been out there with the kids or anything, so I was like, "Oh, that would be fun if you were close." But we don't have any plans. But if we do, I'll let you know.
Who knows, right?
Yeah,
Who knows? Yeah, if you come to this side, then let me
for
know.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
but oh, thank
All
you. This was
right.
so fun.
Yes, yes. Same here. So I wish you the best day and the best life, and we will stay in touch.
Yes, absolutely. I will talk to you soon.
Bye bye, Shannon. Thank
Bye.
you.